Welcome back to the Vigilante Lab. Today we're going to talk about the difference between a latte and a cappuccino, two of the most well-known coffee drinks in the world. These days in most American cafes, you have your options on milk. So if you have a milk intolerance or you just prefer one over the other, you can definitely choose. Soy, the original alt milk. You got your classic whole milk, which you can't go wrong with. Oat milk, the new fan favorite in the game. And then an alternative that we offer at our cafes is macadamia nut milk. Any of these four will work. We recommend you go for the one that best appeals to you, but be wary of some of these alternatives you might find at the grocery store. If they're not designed to be used on an espresso machine and to be steamed, you might not get the result that you're looking for. A few tools of the trade are going to be your milk pitchers. Now I have a 20-ounce milk pitcher and a 12-ounce. This is what we're going to use for our cappuccino, and this is what we're going to use for our latte. The reason is, a cappuccino is a 6-ounce beverage, and a latte is a 12-ounce beverage. We want to make sure we have a large enough pitcher to hold the amount of milk we're going to need to make this exact drink. The more advanced you are as a barista, you might like to work with this smaller pitcher from time to time on your lattes, as you'll have more control when you go to perform latte art. You're ready to make your latte? You got two options. You can pull your shot directly into the vessel you're going to make your drink in, or you can pull it into a shot glass. I prefer to pull it right into the vessel I'm making my drink in, because it's going to hold the crema in a much thicker state, which is going to create a really beautiful contrast when combined with that milk. One rule of thumb is to pour directly below this indentation. This will ensure that you don't oversteam the milk and get it all over your shoes and the floor in the process. Now that my shot's pulled, I'm going to steam my milk. This is where the magic happens. If you get the milk right, everything else will come together quite easily. First, start with the milk wand fully submerged, and then expose it to the surface of the milk. And that's what you hear is those gentle whispers. And then my right hand is serving as a temperature gauge, where I'm coming back and forth, until I feel like it's too hot for me to hold, which is probably right around 150 degrees, which is what we're aiming for on a latte. When done, cut your steam wand. Make sure you wipe that milk residue off. Next, you want to groom your milk. All right, to groom the milk, what I like to train our baristas on is that there is a piece of sandpaper underneath the pitcher, and they are trying to get through the table. This little back and forth motion will take the coagulated, the thickened up milk and evenly disperse it. So that way you get a really balanced and velvety textured latte. And on the pour, what we're trying to do here, if you're going to create latte art at home, is a ricochet effect within this cup. All right, so we're going to pour into the corner, directly into this pool of espresso. And when I come close with the pitcher, it's going to cause it to ricochet, and the milk dot is going to come to the surface of the espresso, what we call our paintbrush. And from that point forward, you can begin making latte art. Now, if this is hard at home, no worries. Just focus on getting this milk right, and then the latte art will come very easily next. Now, I'm just going to take a really simple approach of doing a heart where I come to the middle and I just let it happen. You almost don't have to do that much when you get properly steamed milk. There you go. The key to a great latte is the right temperature. It should be sippable, not chuggable. All right, friends, let's learn how to make a classic cappuccino. We are working inside of a tulip cup, which is one of my favorite cups to make a cappuccino in. I like to pull my shot directly into the cup I'm going to drink out of. I find that it holds the crema in a much thicker state, and that actually contrasts with the milk in a much better way. So while that shot is pulling, I'm going to prepare my milk. We're going to be using the smaller pitcher, and we're going to fill it up about halfway to where the indentation is. All right. It's important that you always fill it up to the right amount. Otherwise, you're going to waste milk and or get milk all over your shoes when you oversteam. Now, steaming for the cap is really similar to the latte, but there are some minor adjustments one should plan for. One, it's going to heat up twice as fast because of the surface area of the pitcher. Two, you want to make sure that you're constantly checking your temperature gauge, because we do want this drink to be a little bit cooler than the latte, closer to the 135, 140 range instead of that 145, 150 range. When you first start it, your steam wand's fully submerged into the milk, and then you're gonna gently introduce it to the surface of that milk with gentle whispers, just like the latte. There's the whispers. The only difference between the latte is that I'm gonna allow just a little bit more whispers to stretch the milk and really create that microfoam. Once I feel warmth in my right hand, I resubmerge the milk, and then I'm using my hand as a temperature gauge going back and forth until I feel like it's too hot for me to hold, and then I cut it. Now, whether you're making a latte, a cappuccino, a flat white, whatever you're making at home, the key to making a great drink is great microfoam. So once you've steamed it, tap out any air bubbles, act like there's sandpaper underneath this little guy right here, and just back and forth motion, creating that kind of flubber action within the milk, which disperses all the coagulation, creating a really nice microfoam in a velvety texture for when you're ready to enjoy the drink. You might notice some bubbles on your espresso as well. No worries, just bang those out like that. And when you're ready to pour, angle it just like you would for the latte. Pour in a steady, methodical motion. If you steamed your milk right, you shouldn't have to do much at all. And that, my friends, is a proper cappuccino. And if you did it right, you'll always get a little milk mustache.